How far does a little teeny tiny jar of Tanglewood Sue-per Shifters go? Well, let me tell you. Better yet, let me show you. For this, we are going to use this beautiful vanity. I think it'll be perfect. It has all the curves and edges we can play with. And I'm actually going to be using one of my new Moody's. We're going to be using Henry. Henry is very pretty. Henry doesn't have a pretty name, but Henry is gorgeous. So let's get started. Are you excited? Let's go. If you guys know me at all, you know where we're going to start. We got to clean this piece. Do we like cleaning and prepping? No, we don't. We hate it. So we want it to be done fast. Am I going to strip the veneer off? No. Am I going to strip the stain off? No. Am I going to strip at all? Only if it gets too hot. Okay. So we're going to go to my go-to, my first step prep, my baby. Are there other products you can use to clean your pieces? Absolutely. And I even suggest starting there. Crud Cutter is great. Simple Green is great. Some people take their pieces like outside in the yard and hose them down. I don't know about that. I don't think I like that idea too much. If it works, do it. But I just don't think moisture and antique absorbent wood go together that well. And so I want to limit the amount of water that I'm putting on here because even a little bit of water left on too long can warp the drawer. So, but you do you. Use those other options. And then for your final rinse, I definitely want you to use the first step prep because it's not just about getting it clean because we do need to get it clean. But most of what we want to do, see that little bit right there that's bouncing the light? We want to get the shine off. We don't need to get the stain off. We don't need to get the paint off. We need to get the shine off. So your next layer has something to stick to. Okay. So that's when I use this. I put it on a scrubby sponge. All right. You can also put it on sandpaper, but again, you don't need to take that much off and you run the risk of scratching it a little bit. So I just like either spray it on and rub it around or spray it right on here. Either way, it doesn't need to be wiped off. And if you've already pre-cleaned and gotten all the gook off, honestly, just do that and leave it. And then we're ready to go. Okay. Super fast, super easy. I promise. Here's the bonus you guys are going to get in this video. Because I have ADHD and I'm completely impatient, and I ran out of my favorite black paint, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. I'm here. You're here. This is here. We're ready. And I actually had some leftover black acrylic paint from a box store, which I don't use, but since I have it left over from a project that I needed that kind of paint for, not furniture, I'm going to teach you guys how I turn it into chalk paint. Right? Now, some of you guys are going to be like, I use latex paint all the time. Good on you. How'd that work for you? If it worked great, I'm so happy for you. Honestly, I am. No, really, I am, because you got to use what works. And if you found something that works for you every time and doesn't peel up over time, use it. I personally have not had that experience. I use chalk-based paints when I'm painting furniture because rather than have the paint like kind of peel off, because acrylic and latex paints are gooey. They don't dry super hard. They kind of dry gooey. Whereas chalk-based paints, they dry hard. Okay, so they don't peel off. They will wear off over time. It's a misnomer to think that they won't. Okay, nothing is as strong as the factory finish, but it will wear off in a way that has charm, like me. All right, so how do we chalk paint? With chalk, dummy. All right, this is calcium carbonate. I get it from Greenway Biotech. I order it. I used to chalk all my own paint before I had my own paint line, because I had the time and energy to do so. But I don't anymore. So, I use my own, but this is what I use and this is what you do. Okay. So I don't measure. If you want somebody who measures, go to another YouTube channel. But this is a good start. So a lot of people will take the calcium carbonate and put it right into the paint. That doesn't work very well. We're making a slurry. A slurry. Don't slurp it. Don't slurp your slurry. But we want to add enough water in here so that we can then take this and pour it in. So we don't want it clumpy. I'll show you a crepe batter. Not really pancake batter. That's the way I describe it. But also you want to use warm water. Okay, so I got to stop talking because this is going to get cold. Let me show you how I do this. So all I'm going to do is take my warm water and slowly pour it into my chalk. just a little bit at a time, because this thing will soak it up fast. Soak it up fast. Do you see that? You think, oh, I need to put in more, but you don't. You don't. Actually, I probably put in too much. Let me dig that around a little bit. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I nailed it on the first try. Hold on. I need to dig that out. Nothing's a perfect science. All right, there we go. No, I didn't put in enough because I'm not getting down there at the bottom. I started with a little too much, probably a little too much chalk. All right, so we're going to pour in just a little bit more. Not too much. All right, now that I'm able to get that all mixed around, I'm sure you guys can do this more gracefully than me. Anybody could do this more gracefully than me. I'll go back up to the other camera so you can really see. That is perfect. Okay, can you guys see the consistency? It's dripping off. I would say that's a little bit more pancakey. I would say that's a little bit more pancakey than crepey, but I think I'm gonna go with it. You just don't want it like pudding. You don't really want it pudding, okay? All right, so now that we got that. Did y'all get anything out of that? She's like, yeah, you put some chalk in and you put some water in and then you kind of dig it out and then you kind of stir it around. And then she says to make it look like crepe batter, but then it's really more like pancake batter. And she says, that's fine. Get used to it. Okay. So now I've already kind of shaken this up. But I didn't open it. So I'm going to do it with my bare hands because I'm strong like that, or I'm not. Hold on. No, I'm not. All right, got it. So just so you know, you probably already do know this. You can find a lot more organized teachers here on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you want to find them. But they won't be as fun and they won't be as honest. And they may not always show you the result. I'm going to show you the result whether it works or it doesn't work. That's how I roll. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting this in to the paint. I'm going to start mixing in. I'm not going to do what I did before. I'm going to mix in a little bit of paint and a little bit of my slurry. There we go. And how do you know when you have enough? When you can hear it. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but you can start to hear the grittiness of it. All right, so that's going to be really gritty right now, but I want to go ahead and get all this mixed in here. And then add the rest of the black in. So this jar is probably, I don't know, is it 12 ounce, 8 ounce, 12 ounce? Something like that. We're going to pour the rest in now. And there we go. You've just made chalk paint. Aren't you proud? And then you test it. You know, because different humidity is different. I'm going to put a little bit more of this in. Some people will say I put in too much. Some people will say I didn't put in enough. Basically, you'll know if it works when you put it on and it really sticks well to your piece and it sands off without getting gooey. So let's give it a shot. Now I can tell this is working because I can hear it. Let me show you. Can you hear that? I know some of you are like, Sue, you're crazy, but that's nothing new. You can totally tell this is working because I barely finished going around and it's already dry. Paint doesn't dry that fast. Latex and acrylic does not dry that fast. Also, it's dried a little lighter, which is okay. And here, let me show you if I scratch. See? It's not coming off. It's etching it. So here's something to consider though. I may have over chalked it for this project. I need there to still be a glossiness, a slight glossiness to it so that the shifters can move around. The reason I don't use my Tanglewood Sue's Hues with shifters is that they are so clay and chalk based that they're too porous and all of the waxes just soak right in and don't move. So we need this to be a little bit more slippery. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a little bit more of my original latex paint in with my chalked paint for the top coat. I'm not worried about the latex qualities because I've already put down this base coat and this thing's already stuck, okay? I'm going light because normally you don't test it. It doesn't cure for a couple weeks usually, but I can tell that it's gonna be okay, okay? It's all gonna be okay. I had an idea, and I don't wanna put too many things in one video because there's just not enough room in the title, but we are gonna put shifters over this entire piece because we're testing how far the shifters go. But I gotta be honest with you, my Tanglewood Sue-per Shifting Metallic waxes like a little bit of texture. It's just gonna make it pop more, it's gonna make it shift more, and it's gonna be easier to apply and not have it look splotchy. Okay, I always told you guys, I'm honest with you. So what we're gonna use is Solus. I love these. These are my FIFO bottles, first in, first out. If you've ever waited tables or worked in a restaurant, you know what these are. And this is my Sue's Hues porcelain paint. It is a chalk-based paint. And I have to use this paint because this works with my pudding potion. All right, these two go together. So what you do, I'm not gonna need that much. So I'm gonna unclog the top. Tops do clog. There you go. But other than that, they're awesome. All right, so I'm gonna put in, I don't know how much. Oh, what's going on there? Well, there we go. How much am I gonna do? I'm gonna do about that much. I don't know how much I'm gonna need. This is an 8-ounce cup. It's up to the L on a solo cup. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. All right, now, I've said this before and I'll say it 100 times over again. It's best to use my pudding potion when you have time and patience, because you know you might want to wait a couple hours for it to thicken up. I have neither, so I just put too much in. This is not a ploy to get you to buy more. I swear, it's just who I am and how I roll. So we're gonna put a lot of drops in here because I want to do this now. It's not hot today. It's not a heat wave. It's actually raining outside. It's really nice. And I'm going to do this now. So I'm going to put in like a stream. 1, 2. Okay. And then we're just going to mix that up. And oh my goodness gracious. I'm trying to shoot this in horizontal. Okay. I'm trying to be a good YouTuber, but it's hard. Just getting the eye line was hard enough, you guys. All right, so I think I waited about an hour for this to really thicken because it is just hot and humid. It really depends on the environment you're in, how fast this works. And that's pretty good. I'm testing it with my brush. I really want it to stay on there, almost like a paste. It's still a little bit runny, I gotta be honest with you. So I poured it out onto a plate and let that sit out for about 20 minutes. And that seemed to do the trick to get it thick enough for the project that I have in mind, you guys. So here's the thing. You wanna make sure you get this on thick enough that you can really get the emboss effect that we're gonna do next. So I put this on with a spatula. I got it on. I gotta tell you, I tested it first and I just put it on with a brush and it wasn't thick enough to really get an imprint. So this is actually my second try. And once I've got it all on here, I'm using my small trowel to lightly spread it around. There you go, see? You do not need to get it perfect because we're gonna be putting a print on it. So once you've got it about 1/4 of an inch thick, I would say, grab your imprint roller. So mine are from Artistic Painting Studios. I love them. And actually I'm using a stamping roller for this, not an embossing roller. There are two different kinds. The blue ones put a pattern with paint, and the red ones are really good for kind of digging in and getting a pattern. But I like the pattern on this blue one, so I'm using it as an embossing roller.
I hope that makes sense. Feel free to leave a comment and I can explain it better. But what I'm doing is I'm adding kind of a firm pressure, not too hard. And this does take practice. All right, you're going to screw this up royally a few times, but you have a really long time. This paint takes a while to dry because of the thickener in it. So you've got some time to go back over, retrowel, start again. I probably did this 4 or 5 times until I got it how I wanted it. And I've just layered it up. Now what I'm going to do now is use my heat gun immediately. Just use a hairdryer if you have it. Because this didn't quite thicken just as much as I wanted it to, I don't want the pattern to start like slipping, right? I don't want it to start drooping. And I just find this the best way. So get your pattern on there and then immediately heat gun it so it stays stiff. The best way I can say it. It's just the best way I can say it. So I decided to actually do the top of this vanity. It is going to be a little bit of a texture, but I don't think it's so raised that it would actually inhibit use. And it's not really a desk, it's a vanity. So I think it'll be pretty. I really think it'll be pretty. And you can see here that I retrowel and then I do it a few times and kind of overlap it. So I don't know. Let's just see. You can skip to the end of the video and we'll see if this worked out. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, using the homemade chalk paint, it's too porous for the shifters to move around on. Same with my Sue's Hues. They're too porous. You need to either wax them, or what I'm deciding to do to keep everything even is I'm just using the same top coat of the latex that's slightly chalked, but not fully chalked, on top of my raised embossed design here so that the waxes will move around freely with abandon.
We're ready to wax. We're totally ready. And I should come back tomorrow because I've been in here for 8 hours. I'm sweating like a piggy. I mean, I've got a glow. I just wanted to look nice for this part. I just wanted to look nice because this is probably gonna be one of my most watched videos. But it's starting to thunderstorm and I rode my bike, so I'm just gonna be sitting here anyway. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. Also, I'm dying. Do you hear the thunder? I'm dying to know if this works. I'm dying to know if this works. I can't wait anymore. So we don't have natural light, so I've got a little ring light here that I hope will help us. So the color I have chosen, you see it? There, is Henry. King Henry of the Moody's. This is our new collection coming out just in time for fall. Y'all, I got my glasses. I got my new glasses. Not wearing them right now, but I put them on in the store and I was like, I think I liked my old glasses because there was kind of this like, they were so scratched, nothing was clear and my skin looked smooth. Everything looked smooth. I mean, who needs concealer or makeup when you have this kind of natural effervescence, right? And then I put my new glasses on right there in the eyeglass store. Eyeglasses are best or whatever the hell their name is. And I put them on and I was like, oh God, this is how I've been walking around. Oh, ignorance is bliss, baby. All right, so let's talk about putting on the wax. Putting on the wax. Want to use one of the new Moody's. Oh, I'm going to measure this. So basically, these are sold by the ounce, okay? This weighs 3 ounces, but it has 1 ounce of shifter wax. And a lot of people are like, that's not going to do anything. That's too expensive. How far is that going to go? Well, let's find out. So, hold on, let me go weigh this. All right, I've got this on the floor, so it's level and it's zeroed out. So let's see. It's exactly 3 ounces. Yeah, man. Now, I have done 2 projects with this, with Henry already. So you can tell that even with 2 projects, it's still at 3 ounces, but let's use that as a baseline. Because quite honestly, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to have half of this left over or need another jar. Isn't that fun? Okay, let's get started. I'm using this chisel tip brush. You can use whatever you'd like, but here's what I want to tell you. It needs to be firm enough to press in and move that wax around, okay? You can't have some flim-flammy brush, but you also don't want it too stiff. Not too stiff, because you want to be able, it to be soft. It needs to be soft and firm. Don't get me started. Don't. We need to load up our brush and then offload our brush so that we get it all on the tips of the bristles because we don't want to waste any. So let me show you how to do that. Hold on, let me go get that paper. This is filthy, but it'll work. I'll use the back of it. So a non-porous surface. So what you're gonna do, I haven't tried this brush before, I just picked it up. I do sell brushes that are great for this, the chisel tip, and of course they're all drying right now. So anyway, so we're gonna see, this is how much is in there. So I've already used it twice, but it's still got 3 ounces. All right, I'm gonna wiggle around in there and get it on the tips of my brush. And then I'm gonna offload, I'm not showing you, then I'm gonna offload it on the side. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything's on there. I'm so nervous. All right, let's get started. Let's start right here in the middle. I wanna come closer. You don't need to see me. You don't need to see me. All right, I'm gonna keep that light kind of bouncing so you can really see this go on. Okay, shut up, Sue. There it is. All right, so as I put it on, I want to really spread it all over. So I'm doing circular motions and I'm really, woohoo, check out that thunderstorm. I'm really pushing it out, okay? I'm not painting this on, I am digging in and getting it all the way across so I don't see any brush strokes. I don't want any brush strokes. Did you see how far that went? Okay, let's do it again. And this one has a red base. I'll do a close-up too so you can see. You want to try to avoid going over where you did, just because you don't want, you know, wax on, wax off. But right now I just want to, I'm looking at it from every angle too, because I really want to make sure I'm getting out any brush strokes at all. And I'm going pretty hard here. I'm going hard. That's looking pretty good on my end. Now, I can always do another coat, but this is really to show you guys how far one jar is going to go. I think I'm going to win. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to just get a little bit around this top. Get in here. Now, if it feels like it's not spreading, it's because of the paint that you used, most likely, okay? And if it's spreading too much, it might be too warm out. Or your wax might be a little bit warm. Because I can tell that's kind of thick right there. Oops, sorry. Sorry. I'm actually gonna get another brush that's a little bit firmer to move it out of those corners. You can also just use a wax brush. This one's not soft anymore, that's why I didn't grab it, but I wanna really push it. A lot of people tell me, Sue, you know, it's gooping up or it's got a haze on it. You're using too much. You're using too much, okay? You're working too hard. You're doing too much. All right, so we're gonna kind of work out here and I'm gonna get on this detail. I'm gonna put it in the detail and then I'm gonna push it into those corners and crevices. I mean, you gotta kind of be violent. You gotta be a little bit violent, I think. Okay, we got that. Two done. I can't tell how much we're using. I really can't. Because it's really warm in here, so it's a little bit liquidy. It's more liquidy than it would be. I just have to show you. We have not had rain. I gotta show you, this is so exciting. Look at that. my God, we're finally getting it. That's what all this noise is. All right, so now we're super close up so you can really see, get on camera, how much I'm putting on. It's so little. It's so little. And then offloading it. Woo! Dang! Sorry, that was awesome. Oh my goodness. Oh, my daughter's lifeguarding right now. Okay, she's probably not lifeguarding right now. Hopefully she's not lifeguarding right now. Okay, and I'm in a metal box, but that's okay. Cement and metal, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. All right, so let's put that on. I'm kind of applying it and then pushing it as far as it will go. I know, I sound like a broken record, but that really is the key. To get as much as you can out of these babies. So I kind of try to go all over and kind of spread it far and wide and then move it out from the center. And I'm checking my work to make sure I don't have brush strokes. I'm getting into bigger areas, so I'm gonna put a little bit more on my brush, but I'm still gonna offload it there. Let's get it right in there. I guess I go back and forth just to spread it around to get it in all the cracks and crevices. And then I do a circular motion to get out any brush strokes. Because people are like, Sue, I see the streaks. Well, not if you dig hard enough. And now also what I'm seeing here, I gotta have that light on. You guys can see it better than I can, is I can see where I've missed. So you've really gotta check at every angle to make sure you got into those cracks and crevices. Now, if you start going too hard, you're gonna start buffing it. So be careful because it dries so fast, and the more you rub it, I'm not gonna say that, I'm not gonna say it. So you wanna kind of move it around and then move on because you don't wanna buff it until you're totally ready. All right, we've got that side. Let's go over here and do this side, and then we'll get to the legs. The legs are gonna be fun. The legs are gonna be so fun. All right. So again, offload. And now you might be saying, why don't you just put a big slap on there and move it around? Well, you can, but I think you're gonna end up with splotchiness. Okay, so let's get it everywhere we want it to go, and then really move it. This is the first time I've done a piece with just one color, I have to say. I feel like you guys can see better here. Let me see if I can offload well enough. All right, let's get into all these little spindlies. So I'm just gonna kind of, oh, that's very satisfying. That's why I love doing shifters over a texture, because you don't have to worry about blending so much, and you get that awesome, satisfying pop right there. So this is definitely gonna take up some wax, getting these little areas here, but they're gonna be worth it. Basically using one to blend and one to just spread. Look at why I chose those colors. That's green, it's steel blue, And then it's this beautiful, beautiful, like soft violet. I mean, oh my God, I'm in love with this color.
All right, let's do a little check-in. Let's check the weight. Here we go. And I zeroed it out and we've got it at 2.8. All right, that's crazy. That's crazy. We started at 3, you guys. Let's keep going. All right, we are on to a very exciting part of this makeover because we are about to put the wax over the raised stenciling or embossing, whatever you want to call it. I'm so excited to see this. So there it goes. So the method to my madness here is that when the wax gets in all the little nooks and crannies of this raised design, it will kind of double the effect of the shift. So you'll see the blue and you'll see the green and you'll see the lavender all going in different directions based on the design that's there. And I think it looks spectacular. You guys should try it. Definitely, you guys should try this. Go back, this is the next day, over places I missed. That's why it's really important to have the light on there. You don't want to do it the same day because you want the wax underneath to harden a little bit so you're not actually pulling it up when you're applying another layer on top of it. And the rest of this, you guys, I think we're just going to do a music montage because I think I've told you all my tips and tricks and now it's just the fun part. So let's go. Change course just a little bit here because why not have an experiment inside of an experiment inside of an experiment. First, we're going to clean up the underside of the piece because you may not see this, but you know what? You know who's going to see it? That client that just paid you a few $1,000s for this. They're going to see it. Now, what am I doing? I'm changing colors. All right, so I know I want to cover every single inch of this piece, but you're really not going to see the shifters underneath because they're not going to be hit by the light. So I figured it was a perfect time to see what happened. What if we use my Yes Queen, Sue's Hues, hot pink, and put that underneath and then put the shifters on top of that? Because even if you can't see the shift because there's not enough light, this pink is going to pop. And because it is one of the colors that Henry shifts to, I think it'll just, I don't know, I just think it'll be magical and it'll be another experiment for us to see how these shifters work on different colors. So because this is a Sue's Hue, they do not have a built-in top coat. And if I put the super shifters right on top, it'll just slurp it in like nobody's business. It'll be like a black hole. So once I put my wax on, let it dry, I can then put the super shifters right on top of that. Now Henry has a pink reddish base. So I'm putting it on the pink. So that pinky red is gonna disappear. And I'm hoping I'm gonna see the shift of just the blues and the violets. Honestly, I'm not seeing much of anything from this angle, which is what I suspected because it's going to be hard to get light bouncing from underneath a vanity like that. I'm crawling up underneath. I'm going this way, that way, but wait. If you look from this angle, you can see what's happening. So basically, if you drop something and you crawl up under your vanity and the light is hitting just right, you're going to be able to see this shift. Other than that, you're just going to see that the reddish undertones of Henry deepen the pink just enough. I still think it's beautiful. It's not giantly shifty, but it's still beautiful. And I have saved the very best for last, you guys. This is the top. It's been embossed. I am apoplectically excited about how this is going to turn out. We still have at least a quarter of a jar left, so we're just going to play some music and have some fun. There is just one last step. Buffing my friends. No, buffing my friends. Commas mean everything, don't they? All right, so when you put the shifters down, they're beautiful, but they are matte. They're a matte finish. And once you buff, so you can use what I'm using here, which is a soft brush. You can use a microfiber towel. watch here. So do you see right there where it's kind of matte? And then what I'm gonna do is once I buff, you're gonna see it get shiny. Not only does it get shiny, it gets reflective and hard. So y'all, that's it. You do not need to put a top coat on these. You can if you want to. Wait a couple weeks. Make sure it's all off gas before you do it, but you don't need to. All you need to do is buff it up and you are ready to go. I can't believe it. No, I can't believe it. Look, we still have a little bit left. We still have a little bit left. So let's do the hardware. So I'm not going to paint the hardware because it's all kind of rusty and gunky and gross, but I actually think adding just a little bit of the Henry shifter on top of that ooky gooky gross stuff will give it just enough sheen that it's going to look awesome. It's going to look awesome. I'm not going to go back and paint it. I'm just going to put it on and then I'm going to let it dry and then I'm going to buff it. And I think that's going to be it. What do y'all think?
We did it. Okay, I did it. What did I do? I don't know. I just knew I was supposed to have fun and experiment and play with my Tanglewood Sue-per Shifters and see how far they go. They went really far. Really far. But to be specific, we covered the entire dresser, nightstand, vanity, whatever this thing is called. We finished the front, we finished the top, we finished the mirror, we finished the insides and the undersides and the sides. Dang, in this one jar. So how far did we get? Look at that. Look at that, you guys. I mean, if this were peanut butter, you could get 2 more sandwiches out of that and we could have a party. We could have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich party. Don't eat that. Do not do it. Anyway, what did we learn? We learned that this does go really far. We learned that this will probably cover a small dresser, 5 chairs, 2, maybe 4 nightstands. Can you do a wall? I don't know. I haven't done a wall yet. I guess that has to be next. But anyway, she will be for sale very shortly. And if you would like a piece of this history of your very own, just let me know. I appreciate you coming with me on the journey. This is a fun experiment and here's to many more. All right. Bye, kiddos.